Hi, this is David from Flyover Country Aerial Solutions. I do real estate and drone photography here in the four-state area. And I gotta say, one of the things I love about shooting in this area is the skies. Because there's nothing more gorgeous than blue skies over Kansas farmland in the middle of summer or spring. And one reason I'm doing this video is probably because I'm pining for that here in the middle of winter. There's nothing more beautiful than the skies over Kansas farmland, over the forests, even over a regular suburban home. And if you're shooting real estate in this area, you know that's part of getting good images is getting those really rich blue skies that we enjoy in this part of the country. But you may have noticed something, even on those really gorgeous days when you go out to shoot, and maybe you're just grabbing some images with your cell phone to put on Zillow or one of the listing sites, but still, the skies just don't look quite right. They don't look quite natural. They don't look quite like the beauty that you see in front of you. Well, I think I can help you fix that. There are a few little tricks that will help you get the photos that you take with your cell phone or with your regular camera or even with a drone to look a lot more like the blue skies that we all know and love. So let's have a look at some photos and see what we can do. Okay, so I have a couple of photos I want us to take a look at here. Both of these are photos that I shot last summer. This is a commercial property on the north side of Pittsburgh. In fact, if you're listening as I record this in February of 2026, it's still for sale as of right now, which kind of mystifies me because it's a great location. Anyway, the skies in this photograph are all right. That's a decent blue that I got out of the skies here, just straight out of the camera. But let's see if we can get a little more out of it. So just like we saw in my previous video, we're going to go to this edit panel up here. Again, remember that I'm working on the regular Photos app on a Mac, but the Photos app on iPhone works pretty much the same. The Android photo editing app is similar. You'll find the same basic modifications on Android as well. So you can use this on anything. And this is a drone photo, but the same editing skills work perfectly well for a regular camera photo, for a cell phone photo. For our purposes today, a photograph is a photograph. Now, one of the things that causes skies to wash out in photographs is that there's so much light coming out of the sky. So we can get a little more color into the skies by taking out some of that light if we reduce the highlights. Now, we don't want to go crazy with it. The highlights aren't blown out, but I'm going to take them down to about minus 0.25. And you'll see that gives us a tiny bit more blue. The other thing we can do to really make the skies pop is to go down here to selective color. And you may have to unfold that, maybe fold it up. And we're going to pick blue because it gives us some different broad color parts of the spectrum we can pick. And we're going to pick our blue here. Now, again, remember what I said. A lot of the problem is the amount of light that comes out of the sky. We can reduce that by taking luminance down. And I'm going to take it down, I don't know, let's go about 6.5, somewhere around there. Maybe even a little more. We'll go down to about minus 10 on luminance. And then saturation, we'll put a little more color in there. Now, don't go crazy with this. Too much saturation will make it look cartoonish, and we don't want that. But I think you'll see here, the sky has gotten a little bluer and looks a little bit more like what your naked eye sees rather than what your camera sees. So let's check out the difference. I'm going to click Revert to Original, and we can see that's a little bit paler. Now here's the edited version. See, just a little bit darker makes that sky pop just a little bit more. Let's check out another example. Now this one, this is a more extreme example. First off, it's a good reminder that even professional photographers shoot photos that need some work, that need editing. This is definitely not perfect right out of the camera. This needs a lot of work. One of the problems when you're shooting the exterior of a house is that you've got to shoot from all sides of the house. You need to walk around and capture the entire exterior. That means that at some point you're going to be facing into the sun, and particular bad luck on this one, the front of the house happened to have the sun right behind it. There wasn't a lot I could do about that in this photograph. So we're going to have to fix some things, but you'll notice that where the sun is, the photo gets really white right here, and it washes out the sky on this half of the photograph. But yet the house is in shadow. We can barely see the house. So what do? Let's go to Edit. Okay, so when I look at this photo, the first thing I want to fix is the crop. This doesn't directly relate to the skies, but it's a good practice to fix and crop, and even as a professional photographer, a lot of my photos need some basic editing here. So we're going to straighten it, maybe adjust the vertical just a little bit, like that. There we go. Now that already looks considerably better. I could play with it a little more, but I think that's good right now. Now we're to a point where we can start looking at the sky. Again, notice how white we are over here. Got a little bit of blue over here, and that's better. But yet the house is all in shadow. Now, it would be nice if I could just go to exposure. Bang, look at that. The house looks great. The problem is I've washed out the sky and part of the roof when I do that. So that's not going to work. We'll take exposure back down to 0. What I want to do instead is boost the shadows. Now I can see the front of the house considerably better, and I had to take the shadows up almost all the way. But to get the sky right, what I want to do is take the highlights down, and you'll see just doing that. And I'm only going to go to about minus 0.25 here. I'm still pretty white up here, and to a point there's not much I can do about that, but I'm starting to get a little more color in the rest of the sky. So much so that I can maybe goose the exposure up just a little bit to make it brighter. Now, once again, what did we see in the previous photo? The secret is down here in selective color. I want to go to blue, and I want to take that luminance way down in blue. And here, I want to probably go pretty far down. I'm going to go to about minus 25 on it. I still can't do anything about this spot over here where I'm shooting directly into the sun, but you'll notice I've picked up a little more color down through here, and quite a lot more color over here where it's off axis to the sun. And in fact, I can tease a little more color out of it by goosing that saturation up just a little bit. Again, we don't want it to look cartoonish, but we do want some nice, pleasant blue. So I think we can agree on this photo I've made a pretty significant impact, so let's do our comparison. We're going to revert to the original photo. Yeah, that's what it looked like right out of the camera. And here's what it looks like after we've polished it up. Notice how much more blue we've got in the sky, and yet we've kept the house. In fact, we've made the house even more visible. Again, it doesn't take long. It just takes a couple of minutes, maybe not even that per photograph, and with a little practice it gets even faster. To make this photo look a little sharper, to make it catch a viewer's eye, to make it look like the kind of house we all want to live in, that kind of solid middle American home under perfect blue skies that we all love. So I hope you find that helpful, and I hope you do manage to get better skies in your next round of pictures. And I'm going to be making more of these videos targeting local realtors and doing what I can to help you improve your photos and improve your marketing for the properties that you sell. So if you have a suggestion for a video you'd like to see, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks, and have a great day.